Hey everyone, Christian here, and I'm going to do another review. This is Licuala cordata, and I don't know if it has a common name. It's never used if it does, but this is a very ornamental palm from Borneo that is quite hard to grow in the ground outside of the tropics. And even if you're in the tropics, you want to be in a very wet, very calm area. It does not like wind. It does not like adverse conditions, no sun. It's even very finicky about the soil, but the leaves on these plants are so beautiful. It's one of the, some people consider it the nicest licuala there is, and I would say it's definitely up there as my favorite. I don't know anyone that dislikes this plant. The only thing to dislike about this plant is the amount of care that it requires. So they don't, because the leaves are somewhat delicate and they're very wind resistant, they don't like much wind. The soil conditions for licualas in general tend to have to be very decent to grow versus many other palms don't seem to care. They like very rich organic soils, but also well draining, because they naturally grow on hills, which will drain downward. So you have to kind of mimic that. So you have to use pine bark, charcoal, some orchid mix pieces. Like, you know, you can use a little bit of everything, but it's all very coarse. You can see through there. And one other thing you may notice is it actually clumps a little bit, and that's something that many people don't know, but when they are mature like this, they will clump, very slightly, but it will be done. Some of these plants do not have any pups on them, but you can see that this plant has an almost perfect circular shape to it. It has these little two, what they tend to do is have two little humps here, and they have two smaller waves on the edges. So, and then they come to the hastula here, comes right in, but the leaf looks like it's almost entire with a little split in it. So it's very neat. You can kind of see that right there, and coming out to the plant. So these leaves are basically almost mature. They're about just over a foot across, and so in its delicate requirements, it's also probably a Zone 10B plant if you were to grow it outside. I'm here in Miami, and I've never seen any of these growing outside in Miami. These tend to like conditions inside orchid houses. They tend to grow very well where orchids grow. So they may require very special water as well. I've tried to grow these with just regular well water or even city water, and I haven't been that successful. Germination is quite annoying, to say the least. It can take 3 to 6 months with even fresh seed, and they will tend to damp off. They tend to get fungus very easily. So using a sterile media is a must for getting these things off the ground. So be prepared to have quite the time and the patience to deal with both the growing of the plants and the pain of them damping off when it does happen. They're also not, seed is not cheap. I would say that seeds, if you buy them wholesale, are about $3 each. So about $300 for 100 seed. So that's definitely on the more expensive side. And here's a smaller one here. And they also tend to not like getting. That's actually the leaf drying out there. So they tend to be like their leaves to be misted and moist. So because there's overhead misting here, they actually do very well. And these are some of the best cordata that I have seen in pots and outside of the actual tropics. So the seed is going to have, how can I say, it looks kind of like a pebble, and it will take a long time to germinate. It will take its own time. You're going to want to give it about 85 degrees and pamper it quite often. And it's going to take, like I said, 3 to 6 months. But I mean, I guess really the question is it worth it? I mean, that's really a personal choice. You can see here how the leaves kind of just hang out like dinner plates almost. And so smaller leaflets on this plant, if you get this plant as a smaller size, they're going to look more like this, like a strap. So when they get larger, they will get circular like this. So that's another thing to notice, that these leaves do not just come out tiny like that. It isn't just a tiny version of this. So yeah, that's about it. The petioles are armed, and if you reach in there, it's not going to be pleasant if you're reaching across, say like that. Excuse me, losing my voice here. So that's about it for Licuala cordata. It is quite beautiful. It is also a very delicate plant. It's definitely for greenhouse culture if you're outside of the tropics. Not just, you can try it. I've grown them on my patio before. They will grow, but you got to be very, very careful with them. You have to, give them water all the time, and make sure their soil is right. And you have to check and make sure that they are properly. If you see nutrient deficiencies, if you see damping off, you have to attend to it immediately. So I'll leave that there. If you guys have any more questions about Licuala cordata, go ahead and leave them down below. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, and you'll see many more reviews like this. And if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you all next time.